Right. We have the gentleman over there. And sorry. We'll have one question here, and then we'll come back to you later.
Hello,
Go
I'm
ahead.
Christopher here from Tigonix. I think probably IDEA heard of us. We're one of the solution providers to actually help companies to automate, especially in the customer service, CRM, and the back-end operations. But one of the areas that we always face, maybe is that from a lot of companies, is that you see the thing like this is that it's only when you have it, then you see the benefit. But when you haven't have it yet, right, it's a tough time for them to actually even convince themselves. You see, the thing last year is that, so we want to know that from the panels, right? You see a lot of things that people don't see that as a problem. They see that, I've been doing this business for 10 years, 20 years, using the same old methods. It doesn't matter, I make money every day. So why is there a need to change? So how do you actually get organization to change? Because it's a painful process. And if we ask staff, right, they will not want to think themselves out of jobs. You see, right, there's a reduction of man hours, there'll be no more OTs, So if you ask the staff, what do you want to think we should innovate, they will say nothing, because they will think they will innovate themselves out of jobs. Yeah. So these are the challenges, we implement projects where boss have very good ideas, but in the process of implementation, we go through the up and down hills with the customers. So we also work with food and beverage that sometimes we find very challenging because the mentality is like what it says, better don't do anything. You suggest something wrong, right, that's it, you're out of jobs. So I just wonder, from a management point of view, how do you actually encourage this kind of innovation thinking, getting people to think, that this is something way forward for everyone, and not that we are not asking you all to think out of jobs. How do you actually get the kind of soft aspects, and because we find that and how do you actually convince sometimes, if there's a staff interested, how do you actually convince the management? Because we also face the challenges, so we're trying to help them to convince them that it's a way forward. Yes, the grant is a good process, where you actually help to reduce the outlay, but I think the important thing is to see the benefit. How do you actually get people to see the benefit that it's good for everyone in the long term, but short term may be quite painful.
Right, thank you. Maybe Mr. Loh can start. How do we get companies to
I
innovate?
think that's a perennial sort of issues with a lot of our SMEs is what would it take to get them off the ground. So I think it will be a combination of a few factors. I think when the market starts squeezing you and you find that you have to become more productive, sometimes the economic imperative makes you, drives you towards innovating. That's the hard way. The easy way is, of course, if you are self-convinced and you decide that you want to go ahead and do this on yourself. But you're right in saying that often is the eureka moment when you see the benefit, and then that usually is the best motivation for companies to adopt. So as much as we want to create awareness, we even had a TV series called Project I on Channel 8 a short while back, trying to showcase some of these benefits to the public at large. What we also have is resource centers, and a lot of people who think, yes, I like to use IT, but I don't know where to start. So that's the challenge for them. They say, yeah, I like to take the first step, but how? So IDA has put 2 resource centers together, one at Singapore Poly and one at Chinese Chamber of Commerce. What these resource centers do is to help you, it's like pre-project consultancy work. They help you understand your needs, what your gaps are, what kind of readiness you are at in terms of adopting IT, whether you are a BI type of customer or you're just a base level standard accounting solution type of customer, and how would you start going out putting IT in place. And they even go as far as to recommending vendors for you to consider, and how to negotiate your IT contract agreement, etc., etc. So they're there to take the pain out of the process, but you still have to show up and make the decision.
There's maybe Mr. Pichoir has something to add. Do you have any advice for business leaders or staff who might be resistant to change or resistant to accepting that IT is beneficial and the way forward for them?
Yeah, it's always it's change management. Very, very difficult thing to achieve. For us, I mean, for everybody, what's very important is first to engage with end users. So, so we create like, groups of users who actually adopt a new technology and work with them to iron out issues and then progressively roll out to the entire organization. So engaging user is always very important. You mentioned convincing your management. In this case, that was not too difficult for me, because I was always like convinced personally that there were much gain to get from adopting some of the solutions I talked about. Now, engaging users is one thing, but at some point, you cannot listen too much because people will always come up with a million reasons not to change. So you need to be courageous. You need to, once you are reasonably confident that the solution that you devise is correct, then you need to push forward. So courage is my advice.
Okay, we will take, in the interest of time, we will take, yes, Minister Teo. We'll come back to you in just a bit.
I thought I'd just share some experience, yeah, a short one. Sure. I sit down, I'm very intimidated standing up. I had some experience quite a few years ago implementing Oracle database system as well as SAP R3. So what happens is that I went through a process of that, convincing management, but by that time I was just project manager, but not really decision maker, but you have to prove the case. So it was all numbers, and the numbers is over several financial cycles. So I just proved that end of the day, after you implement, where are the savings, and where the productivity level increases, and where are the streamlining of the processes, and then how much would it save the company. And because they also linked the savings to my bonus, excluding manpower reduction. And manpower reduction, because it's such a company that's rather big, so they just redeploy and retrain and reassign. So it's not actually reduction of manpower, but for a certain function, it actually reduces. How do you convince the people? It's very tough. Huh? Resistance to change is quite difficult. So we need an entire change management process, a transition process. And that takes time. And the initial stage will be painful, but after that, about maybe 1 or 2 years on, you will find the real benefit of ease of using data and information system management. And that's what the gentleman say, really is about analytics and bringing all the data to make decisions. So it's much easier and it's real time sometimes.
Thank you, Mr. Teo. Okay, in the interest of time, we will only get one more question. However, there's still opportunity for everyone to network with one another and with our speakers during dinner. But we want to get dinner started, so let's have the gentleman in white there. Can we get the microphone to him, please? Sure, and my associate editor, Vikram, will have the final question later.
Okay, my question's to Mr. Yap, Genki Sushi. My name's Dave Rogers from Joy Ventures. Mr. Yap, arigatou gozaimashita. Sugoku tanoshikatta.
Dou itashimashita.
I'd like to know specifically your examples of accessing funding in Singapore, particularly since you're bringing some of the technology from Japan. Would you be able to talk about any specific schemes where you actually had some good successes, along with perhaps any recommendations to make the process more effective, more productive for people who are applying to get funds here in Singapore?
Well,
some tips to people who are applying.
Well, this is the best part about Genki Sushi this round. Actually, we did not get any funding. We went ahead. I had the support of my chief technology officer and my chairman, as well as those in Japan, that we will proceed. Because, funding may take some time, and you would have to justify why you need funding. We just wanted to get this thing going. So we used up, basically we paid for everything on our own. Right now, if you ask me whether whether funding, there's a particular way of getting funding and things like that. It always comes back to this question: are you going for it for the funding's sake, or are you are doing it regardless of it? So for us, it was regardless. We were not interested in the funding, not in a tone of arrogance, but we wanted to get our business going. We wanted to see how this new technology works here. It's just like, for example, if you really like something, and if you have to wait for somebody to come along and give you the money in order for you to acquire it, then you'll probably be a pretty long wait. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and the final question will be from the Business Times Associate Editor, Mr. Vikram Khanna.
Thank you all for a fascinating session. I can see that IT does improve your bottom lines. It enables you to streamline your processes, staff costs, and all that. But what about your product? What I mean to say is, you're in the food business. Does it improve your food? Is my question. I mean, because I heard, especially in the case of sushi, I believe it takes 5 years to become a sushi chef, or something like that. And now you have machines doing that. You have, sushi robots. Yeah. What did the guy learn for 5 years that makes sushi so special? So all the stuff that you're doing, I understand all the business improvements, but what about the food?
Our food actually has improved. Why, I tell you? Because you have taken away so many responsibility from the staff in the kitchen. They have more time to actually put their heart and mind to making the sushi, and also to develop menu items. Last time in the past, in my old establishment, every time I ask them each year, hey, give me something new. Oh yeah, no time lah, we have to shred the carrot, we have to do this. Now everything is automated, they got no excuse. So they actually come up with more innovative items. They have more time to sit down with supplier, taste different, for example, salmon. Different kinds, which is actually good. And actually, for us at Genki Sushi, we have always make mention to our staff and ourselves is that if we cannot make good sushi, then we might as well not be here. Because we are the pioneers. For 44 years, we've been around. So if you ask me whether food has improved, yes. Sushi robot, 5 years, sushi chef, gone are the days. These days, the sushi chef that I know is the last sushi chef, not the last samurai. Just retired last month. Sushi robot has been used ever since 1969. So if you go to any of the conveyor belt sushi, nobody makes it by hand anymore. Even if you have the perception that it's made by hand, the little bucket at the side, it's also a mini sushi robot. Each rice comes popping out from the base. It gives the perception that you're making it in hand. So it's quite difficult these days to find somebody who can produce 3,500 rice pellets in 1 hour.
All right, and that brings us to the end of our panel discussion. Please join me in thanking our 3 guest speakers. Get them a round of applause.